Hello, and welcome to the Getting Started with My Courses virtual workshop. To begin, we'll just start with how to get into My Courses. So, from the UMass Dartmouth homepage, umassd.edu, click on My UMassD in the upper right corner. Now log in with your UMass Dartmouth username and password. Once you've entered your username and password, click Log In. From the Quick Launch menu, choose My Courses. From this page, you may or may not see courses listed along the left side of the page. If you don't see any of the courses you're teaching, go to the Instructor Help tab in the upper right corner. Here you'll find some help links, and the top one is Creating a MyCourses site. Click on that link. At the top of the page you land on, click on MyCourses Site Setup Tool. From the first drop-down list, you'll choose the semester that you'd like to create a site for, and then from the second drop-down list, you'll choose Create Sites. I currently don't have any courses assigned to me in Coin, but if I did, I would see those courses listed here, and along the right side of each course, I would have a checkbox to create the site. If I wanted a MyCourses site for those courses, I would check off Create Site next to each of them, and then click the Save Changes button. Once you click Save Changes, your site has been requested. It can take up to an hour for it to show up in MyCourses. Back on this page where you clicked to open the Site Setup tool, if you scroll down, you'll see some additional information about setting up MyCourses sites and even combining sites. You can combine sites for courses that are the same, such as two sections of the same course, or courses that are cross-listed in Coin. You'll set up MyCourses sites for each section you're teaching each semester. Your MyCourses sites stay in sync with your Coin roster, so you don't have to worry about adding your students. They'll automatically be added and dropped from the MyCourses site as they are added or dropped in Coin. You should also know that MyCourses sites are set to automatically open on the first scheduled day of the class in Coin. Now, if we come back to MyCourses, I'm going to work here in my sample course site. But for you, once your site has been created, like I said, within about an hour of you creating it through the tool, it will show up here with the official course name and section listed. So for example, if I was teaching ENL 101-01, it would show ENL 101-01 here, with the term and other specific information in the name of the course. So now let's click into my sample course site. Every course site starts off like this, with a blank slate. The way to start adding content is first to ensure that edit mode up here in the top right corner shows as on. If edit mode is on, that means that you can add content to your site. If it's off, just click on where it would say off and it will turn it on. Everything you create in MyCourses is driven by this left-hand menu. When you click on the plus sign in the upper left corner, you'll have a few different options of things that you can add to your menu. First up is a content area. So I'll choose content area here, and I'm going to name this one syllabus. And I'll check off this available to users box since I want it to be visible to the students. And then I'll click submit. And that's it, I've got my first link. So these content areas, this one that's called syllabus, are really like folders where you can add content and places for your students to submit work. So since I've created a content area here for my syllabus, I want to upload that file from my computer. To do that, I'll go to Build Content and choose File. I'm going to use the Browse My Computer button to select the file from my computer. And here I'll select my syllabus file by double-clicking on it. Lastly, I'll give my file a name. Now I'll click Submit. And that's it. That's how you upload a file into a MyCourses site. You go to Build Content, choose File, select it from your computer, and now you and the students can come click on the name of it to open it up. Now, let's talk a little bit about how to organize your course menu, since it's the primary mode of navigation for you and your students around a site. I'm going to add another content area here, and this one's going to be for my Week 1 content. I'm going to check off Available to Users again, and then click Submit. You'll want to figure out a consistent way to organize your content that makes sense to the students and is in alignment with your syllabus schedule. So here I'm creating an area for week 1, but for subsequent weeks I would continue to create more content areas for week 2, 3, 4, and so on. If you organize your course by week, you could follow this model, but if you go by chapter or module or unit, you could use those labels instead, because content areas work the same no matter what. The organization and the naming structure is totally up to you and should be whatever format works best for your course. So the goal of these areas, like week 1, is to make a one-stop shop for everything students will need to see and do. So the first thing you'll want to do is, under Build Content, is create an item. An item allows you to add a block of text on the page, and you should use items to introduce your content areas like this week 1 area. Here I'm going to provide a quick explanation of what this area is meant for students and offer them a to-do list of things that they'll need to accomplish for this week. So here I've typed out a brief sample of what a welcome could look like. I've welcomed everyone to the site, given them an idea of what topics we're going to cover, and offered a to-do list of things that they'll need to accomplish with the content I've posted in this area. So now I'm going to click Submit. And there we go. Items are pretty simple. You put them on the page and that text just shows up there. And they're a great way to add context to what other content we're about to add. So now I want to upload some handouts, web links, videos, and other information I want my students to view. To do that, I'm going to come to Build Content, and I can choose from Learning Module or Content Folder. Learning Module will allow me to create a space on this page where I can upload files and other content that students must view in order. That's kind of like a textbook where they look at one thing and then they click next and it opens the next thing, and then they click next and it opens the next thing, and they view it all one at a time, and traditionally it's meant for things that need to be viewed in a certain order. However, if I just wanted to upload a bunch of stuff on the page for students to see and the order wasn't important, I can use a content folder. A content folder is going to just let you create a space one level deeper, just like you would on your computer, where you can store stuff. So I'm going to do that in this example. I'm going to call it my Week 1 Materials, and then I'll provide a quick explanation in this text box as to what's going to be in here. Once I've given my folder a name and a description, I'll click Submit, and it's going to show up on the page. Now, to add content into this folder, I'll click on its name, and I'll be taken a layer deeper. Now, I'll repeat some of the steps I've already done to add content. So I'm going to come back to this familiar Build Content button, and I'm going to go to File so that I can pull in the PowerPoint from my computer. I'll use Browse My Computer again, and I'm going to select my Chapter 1 slides and give them the appropriate name. I'll click Submit, and that's going to add that file to the page. Now say I wanted to add a link to something in the library databases or out on the internet. I can come to Build Content, and I can choose Web Link. So for example, if I wanted to link students to this web article, I could come here and put the name of my link into the name field, and then I would copy the URL up here at the top of the page when you're looking at it in the internet. So that's right click up here and copy what's highlighted. I can come back to here and paste that link into the URL field. So give your link a name, paste in the address. You can offer an explanation here for the students, and then click Submit. And that's it. Now when you or the students come in, they can click on the name of the link and it will take them to the article. This works the same for any web page that you want to send the students to, so use web links however you need to point students to information out on the internet. Now let's say I want to share a YouTube video with the students. Well, MyCourses actually has a tool built right in to let you do that. If you come back to that Build Content button, in the lower right corner you can find YouTube Video. Here you can actually search YouTube for videos. This is pretty convenient because you never actually have to leave MyCourses. So let's say I wanted to link them to this video here that came up in my search. I can click on this link here to watch the video myself, or I can click the Select button underneath it. It automatically fills in a name for the video, but you can add a description here as well. Once you're done, you can click on Submit, and it pulls the video right onto the page for you. Now when the students come in, they just click on the little thumbnail and they can play the video. Now let's travel back to our Week 1 area. That's the basics of adding content and text on the page, but what about places for students to submit work? The first and most popular tool people will use is the assignment tool. The assignment tool can be used to have students submit attachments or any sort of work directly to you privately for grading. So here I'm going to come to Assessments and choose Assignment. The first thing I'll do is give my assignment a name, and then in the instructions box I'm going to type in the directions for this assignment. It's a good idea to be specific about the format that you want students to submit work to you in. All UMass Dartmouth students have access to Microsoft Office for free, so most people will require their students to submit things as a Word document. So here in my directions, that's what I've done. If I scroll down the page a little bit, I'll see an area here to attach files. So if I had a template or a specific file that went with this assignment, I could attach it here using that Browse My Computer button. And I can also use this due date option to tell students when this assignment is going to be due. You just click the little calendar button and choose the date, and it will automatically fill in the end of the day. But you can use the little clock if you want to set a specific time. The assignment doesn't automatically shut off after this date and time, but it will mark any submissions received after this date and time as late for you when you're grading. Next is a box where you can type in your points possible, so I'll just say this is worth 100 points. This isn't about how much it's worth toward your final grade, this is simply how many points you want to grade this one assignment out of. When you click on submission details here, you'll see options for individual or group submission. By default, assignments are set up for each student to have to submit once. However, MyCourses does have a groups tool, and that allows you to break your course up into groups and then assign an assignment to those groups so that only one person has to submit on behalf of their entire group. I don't have any groups set up for this example, but it's good to keep that in mind if you have that type of assignment in your course, that it is possible. You're also able to choose how many times you'd like students to be able to submit. By default, they only get one chance, and they'll have to contact you if they want to submit again or if they need another chance. However, you can set up a specific number of attempts if you'd like to allow a certain number, or you can set them to be unlimited attempts so students can submit as many times as they want. Most of the time, people want it to be on single attempt. There's also a checkbox here to check submissions for plagiarism using SafeAssign. Enabling this will generate a report for you to review while you're grading that scans your student's submission to see if any strings of text were copied from a source on the internet. If it does find matches in the document, it will provide a link to where that text originated from. It doesn't consider works cited or bibliographies though, so it's important to evaluate a plagiarism report carefully. There are also checkboxes just below here that allow you to let students see the report that was generated because by default it was only visible to you. And you can also choose to exclude their submissions from the institutional and global references databases. This means that student submissions won't be put into the pool of other submissions that future submissions will be evaluated against, because not only does SafeAssign check against the internet, it also checks against other papers that have been submitted and scanned through the SafeAssign tool. If you check this box, it ensures that for an assignment with drafts, their final draft doesn't get matched against an earlier draft. Now if I scroll down a little bit more, I'll see options for limiting availability. These availability dates have actually been an option for everything we've added to the site so far, but this is a more opportune time to talk about it. You can use these settings to determine when something will appear and then disappear to a student automatically. So I can say open this up to students on the 11th at such and such time, and then disappear on such and such date at such and such time. Before and after these dates, the item will not be visible to the students. So this can be a good way to trigger something showing up and disappearing without you having to remember to log in and do it manually. Once you've set dates that you're happy with, go ahead and click the Submit button. And now that's it. The assignment has been created and students will be able to submit to it. If you click on the assignment link, you'll actually get a preview of what it looks like to them. They click here, they see the directions, they'll know their paper is being scanned if you enabled SafeAssign, and then they can use the Browse My Computer button to choose the submission that they want to send to you, and then they click Submit to submit it to you. Now let's talk about another popular type of online activity, and that's a discussion board. Discussion boards can be used to have students talk back and forth to each other about a topic or question. You can set up a discussion board by coming to Tools at the top of a content area and then choosing Discussion Board. Here I'm going to create a new forum, and now I'll give my forum a name. For now, skip typing anything into the description field and come down a little bit further. You'll see those familiar date and time restrictions if you'd like to set them. Here you'll see two different modes for your discussion to work in. The first one is Standard View, where as soon as a student posts, other people are able to see it and reply to it. The second is participants must create a thread in order to view other threads in this forum. This makes it so that students cannot see what other people have posted until they make their initial post. Enabling this second option is a great way to ensure that what students are posting is original and that they aren't just writing based off what they read other people write about. Just below there's an option to enable grading, which most people will for their discussion, and again, a box to type in how many points this assignment is worth and that you'd like to grade out of. And you'll also see that familiar due date box where you can indicate to students when this assignment is due. That's about all the important settings you'll need to think about when you set up a discussion, so next click Submit, and then click Next. Now on this final page, in this text area, you'll want to type out the directions for your discussion. The best discussions don't have yes or no answers. Whenever possible, you want students to have to pull in their own perspective or opinion or their take on something. So keep that in mind as you write your discussion prompts. Once you've typed in your directions, click Submit, and now your discussion activity has been created. and it will show up here on the week page. So now we've produced an example of what a basic week could look like. You have an item up at the top of the page introducing students to the week and telling them what they're going to need to do. You'll have a folder for your materials and content where you can post the information you want students to review before they start working on the assignments. And then back on the main week page underneath there, you have places for students to submit and do their work. It's important to build pages from top to bottom, where you want students to start working and reading at the top and working their way down. Now let's talk a little bit about how to work with the content you already have on the page. So if you ever need to go back in and edit something you've created, you can. You can place your mouse over whatever the thing is you want to edit, click the down arrow that appears to the right of the name of it, and you'll see an edit option. When you choose edit, it takes you back into the options to change whatever you'd like. You'll also notice some other options in there. For example, there's a make unavailable option that allows you to quickly hide something from the students if you need to. You can see here, once I've made it unavailable, it makes the icon grayed out and it indicates to you as the instructor that it's no longer visible to them. If I click the down arrow again, I can now make it available to make it visible again. If I click that down arrow one more time, you'll see the very last option is delete. If I wanted to take something off the page altogether, I can delete it and it will be gone forever. There are also options to move if you put something in the wrong place, so you can go to Move, Browse, and then choose the other place in the site that you'd like to drop whatever this piece of content is into. So once you add something into MyCourses, it's pretty easy to move things around. You'll also be able to rearrange things vertically on the page. When you place your mouse arrow over the left edge of an icon, you'll see that your mouse arrow changes to a four-way crosshair, and that there's a little diagonal stripe edge to each piece of content. If you click and hold down with your mouse, you can grab and drag anything up and down on the page to be wherever you want it to be. So if you put something in the wrong order, you can simply drag and drop it into the right place. Once you've got one content area structure down, as you create future ones, as I would in this course with future weeks, you'll try to follow the similar format so that students know what to expect and how things will be organized from week to week in your course. Now let's talk about some other useful links that can be added to your course menu. Here under the plus sign, you'll see an option for Tool Link. From this drop-down list, you can pick from every tool in the system, and there's a few that I'll shout out. The first one is Announcements. This is a great tool that everyone should have in their course that allows you to send out messages that all of your students will see in MyCourses as well as in their email inboxes. There's also the email tool, which is a quick and easy way for students to email you. It will come from their UMass Dartmouth email address and will be sent to yours. There's no inbox here in MyCourses. And then there's also the My Grades page, where students can come to view any grades for assignments that you have graded. Lastly, you might think about adding Zoom Pro to your course. If you're planning to meet with your students live online, it's great to add a Zoom link to your course so that you can schedule all of the meetings and provide a place for students to access those meetings right within your MyCourses site. So to start, I'm going to just add an announcements page. Just like before, I'm going to give an announcement a name, check the box so that it's available to users, and then click Submit. Now if I click on Announcements, I'll see a button here to create an announcement, so let's do one together. I'll create an announcement. I'm going to say hello to my students, and then I'll tell them hello, welcome to the class. Just a little further down the page, you'll see a checkbox here to send a copy of this announcement immediately. And what this does is it triggers it to send it to their email inboxes as well. So if you don't check this, it will post the announcement in MyCourses, but it won't also post it in their email inboxes. For this reason, we recommend just about always checking that box. Once you're ready to send your announcement and you've typed your subject, body, and checked the box to send it immediately, click Submit and your announcement will get sent. And it will also appear here on the announcements page with a timestamp. This is important because it means students can't blame their inbox being too full or an email getting lost on why they didn't hear from you. Every bit of communication that you send out is housed here over the course of the semester with a date and timestamp that it was posted. As long as they're logging into MyCourses regularly, there's no excuse not to check this page and find your announcements. Under the plus sign, let's talk about one more type of page you'd add that's useful, and that's a module page. You'll only ever add one module page per course site, but here's what it's for. We usually recommend people call their module page Tech and Academic Support, and when you add it to the page, it's going to have a button to Add Course Module. What this lets you do is add little blocks of information that has support links for your students. We recommend adding a few of them. The first one would be MyCourses Tutorials and Support. The second one is the UMass Dartmouth Support Services, and the third is University Academic Policies. Once you've added those 3, you can scroll through and see if you like any others that you'd like to add, but when you click OK in the lower right corner, it brings you back and it shows you what it will look like. As you can see, you can drag and drop the windows around if you like them in a different order, but the end result is really a page where students can come and quickly jump out for help with just about anything. If you'd like to check your work and see how students will see your course site, there's a little eyeball in the upper right corner of your site, just underneath the MyCourses dashboard. If you click on this little arrow eyeball, it's going to put you into student preview mode. You aren't able to edit anything. All you can do is look at the site exactly as students will. This is a great way to check your work and ensure that when you post something, it will in fact be available to students before you tell them that it is. To get out of this view, simply click the Exit Preview button in the upper right corner. Just as you can rearrange and edit things in a content area, you can do the same on the course menu along the left side of the page. If you place your mouse arrow over a link, you'll see that it gets a glow to it, and along the left edge you'll see those same diagonal stripes that, when you click and hold down on, you can drag a link up or down on the menu to put it in whatever order you'd like. You can also click the down arrow that appears to the right of a link to rename the link, hide it from the student's view, or delete the link from the menu altogether. If you delete something from the menu, just like when you delete it in a content area, it's gone forever, so don't delete something unless you're sure. If you hide a link, it's going to add a little square next to the name of the link so that you know it's hidden. Once it's hidden, students can't see it, so this can be a good way to hide areas for future weeks or future assignments that you don't want students to see yet, but you still want to work on, because even though it's hidden from them, you can still access it. When you're ready to show something, you just click that down arrow link again and choose Show Link. You can also use the plus sign button in the upper left corner of a course menu to add subheaders and dividers. Dividers are just simple lines that can be used to organize links and make things look a little bit neater. Subheaders can be used to add bold text on the menu that organize your links and help students navigate. For example, here I just added one for resources, and I could also add another one here for course content. There's no right or wrong formula, just use whatever you think makes sense. Now let's take a look at the starter kit to see what a site might look like with some more content in it. The MyCourses Starter Kit is available for anyone. Importing this into your course site can be a quick and easy way to get started and to add some popular areas to your menu. As you can see here, it comes with 5 weeks already created, a syllabus area, a welcome area, and some of the tool links that students will be expecting. It can save you some time getting up and running to just import this and go from there. To import the MyCourses Starter Kit, click to the Instructor Help tab in the upper right corner of MyCourses, follow the link to creating a MyCourses site. Then, at the top of this page, go to My Courses and go to Help for Faculty. At the top of this page, you'll see a link to download the MyCourses Starter Kit, and you'll see a tutorial here on how to import it. But further down the page, you'll actually see tutorials, both written and video, on how to do everything you can possibly think of in MyCourses, from adding links to your menu, adding content to your content areas, creating places for students to submit work, and also how to grade the work that students submit. Well, that's all for now. If you have any questions, you can reach us at ithelp.umassd.edu or 508-999-8900 if you have any questions.